So, hello and welcome to the podcast. Today I'm talking to Vilma Talvitie. Vilma is a Finnish singer, composer, pianist, and performing artist. She is based often in Helsinki, but also all around the world. She is known as a one-woman band and has performed in more than 30 countries. She has released her first solo album, Miste Mihin, in 23, and I think has just released her second album, which we probably will talk about. And one thing I so admire about Vilma is I experienced her many times on stage, but one moment stands out where she was performing in a venue that I was organizing. And she was on a big stage with her piano as a solo artist, and she had the superpower to transform this stage into a magical place where everybody was captured by her stage presence, and like you could hear a pin drop. The magic was just so palpable. And I was so impressed because also Vilma sings in Finnish, her mother tongue. And it's not very common that people are so like taken on a journey in a language they don't understand. And I really thought, wow, this woman has superpowers. It's amazing. And yeah, I'm super excited to talk about all of this today with you, Vilma. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm also super happy to be here and talk about important things with you.
Yeah. Vilma, maybe just to start, is there anything like any question or any kind of topic that moves you a lot as a human being at the moment, as a musician, as a human being? What's kind of at the forefront of your reality at the moment?
Well, I think there's a lot of topics that are going around in my brain. But lately, in these 10 years that I've been on the road, I think, of course, since I've been kind of an observer, like I've been in many places in Europe, but also outside of Europe, and traveling mostly by land from place to place and from friend to friend, and making little concerts and meeting a lot of communities. This has been a lot in the center the last 10 years, like different kind of communities, how they work, and also like what I see when I go there, because I come from outside. So then also these feelings of outsider, the belonging, not belonging, being stranger, not understanding, not being part of something, or being part of something and connecting people. I think these are the big topics during the last 10 years, let's say.
Yeah, wow. I think they're really central topics for the times we live in. I think a lot of people are feeling those topics.
Yes, exactly. I felt that it was like actually it was a surprise for me, because I come from a very, let's say, very individualistic culture. Like Finland, I would say it's a quite a individualistic European Western country. And when I go to another side of the world, of course, I see a lot of very different way of being and way of communicating and being together. But I also saw that these are also universal feelings, and also like how this time is affecting like all of this technology around us and social media around, and all of these big changes and globalizations, and how they affect so that people everywhere around the world feel these similar feelings, kind of being stranger to life or something like this. So I think,
That's so fascinating. And did you feel like on your travels, like this sense of belonging? Because it's certainly something that I feel for many years, and I always thought, it's probably because I have the history I have. I come from the country, from Germany, where it's a tricky topic anyway, and and I find it fascinating that you observe this as a general energy in the field. Can you speak a little bit more about that? What did you observe?
What did I observe? Well, I don't know if you want to go directly to this social media technology aspect, but I think like for many ways the world and the life changed so much for all of us in so short time, and for sure it's affecting all of us, and that we know. I mean, also in a good ways, that we can connect easily. I can be also in touch with my friends from around the world very easily, and find the connection fast again because of the technology. But at the same time, all of this stress and fast life and the pressures that people start to get from technology and social media, and that we become a kind of stranger to the life itself, because we have so much this life which is not live. We are
Yeah.
not live in the life, and that's why I think that this is what I saw a lot in people, and what people were talking about a lot in everywhere where I went. And
Wow. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. And I think it's also like what I'm observing is so little of the stuff we observe on social media is really lived through our own bodies. But here we are with the bodies we have in this world. But so much is just taken in with our eyes, and we get dopamine kicks from seeing strangers do stuff on a
yeah, I
screen.
know. Yes,
And at the same time, here we are as embodied beings.
yes. Yeah, it's incredible. I noticed it like yesterday. I had this concert, my album release concert, and to feel the people in the audience and feel them coming to talk with me afterwards. And I think like it's like I cannot even like tell how much more it means to me than the comments that I get from the social media, because I cannot feel them, even if I read the words, but I cannot really feel them. So yeah, so that's why I feel I don't want to use my time there, because I feel that the more I put these words, they don't have the body, like you said. We don't have the
Yeah.
body when we are not like bodily there. So
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Wow.
that's why.
Yeah, it's such a two-sided thing, because on the other side,
Mm,
like, we couldn't have this conversation if all this technology wasn't there. It's
yeah,
also
yes.
such a positive thing. But
Mm,
I totally feel what you mean. It's wow, yeah,
mm,
it's such
yes.
a huge change. Let's talk a little bit about your music. Like, when people
Mm,
ask you what kind of music you make,
mm.
what would you tell them? I mean,
This is a good question. I've been thinking of this a lot. Um, yes, I used to say that come to my concert, because it's hard to explain with words.
yeah,
Like, I always feel that the words are difficult, because we have different languages already, and then we are seeing and thinking differently because of our language, and that's why I feel like language is often difficult. Uh, and that's why it's easier when people come to the concert and they feel you and you feel them. And I feel every space is different, and all the audiences are different, and the connection is always different. It's always interesting and important. But of course, I cannot tell this like to the venues or the promoters. I cannot tell that. Yeah, just come there, and I have to have some words to describe it. My music. I started to call it Nomad Folk. For it was my
okay,
friend who told me that this is Nomad Folk, because you are going around the world and you are getting some influences from people. Your way of being, your way of singing, your way of being on a stage. It seems that it has a lot of influences from everywhere where you went. So, and it's still a lot of folky vibes. So that's why
yeah,
it's a lot of. I used some traditional music elements on it, but I also compose myself. So that's why I started to call it Nomad Folk.
yeah,
And
wow,
it's one band. So I play with my feet. My feet are my bandmates. My hands are my handmates. The whole body is my band. So
yeah.
this is cool. But also I don't feel that I'm alone there. So also for me, when I'm on the stage, it doesn't mean that I'm alone there, because I feel that the audience is affecting me. And that's why I want to play also with the audience. So I usually try to make people sing and clap and be part of it, because it feels that we are together. We are together there. So
Yeah, and it's interesting because this is exactly what I experienced in your concerts. It's like you create, like, I don't know how you do it, but it's a sacred space you create where really, like, the boundaries between the audience and you as a performer, they blur. And it's really very special. And I found it like wow, it has a really strong power beyond just being an amazing performance. Like something happens also in exchange with the audience, which I didn't experience in many concerts. It was really very, very powerful what I saw you do.
I'm super happy to hear this because I think this has been a lot in my mind the whole time, like all of these years that I've been making art and being artist. Is that what is been disturbing me a lot is this kind of how would I call it, like some kind of cults around persons, and that we start to all this kind of fan culture that people start to be like, like you're amazing, and then you put some people in higher position and then some people lower, and this kind of hierarchies is very difficult for me to deal with them. Like when I feel that somebody's putting me down or somebody's putting me up, it's very difficult, and I guess it's for most of the people this feels bad. Like
It's so
you don't
uncomfortable.
feel.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yes. So you don't want to be up there, but you also don't want to be down there. You want to be horizontal and feel people like that we are in the same space, and we have the connection open. And this is like what I was thinking for a long time, and this has been always a big contradiction, because when you are on a stage and you are kind of easily put a bit more up, and so it easily happens. And also I have some bad experiences of this fan culture, like when somebody's become almost obsessed and then of you as a person, but they actually don't know you because they only know the person that you are on the stage, and this is only one image. Or even worse, they might know the person that you are on social media, and and that's not telling anything about you. So, or maybe something a little bit, but not a lot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'd love to talk about that a little bit more, maybe later. But what I would be super interested in is what were your influences in your music to arrive to this place where, like, at least for me, when I see you on stage, it feels like you really found your very unique, authentic own voice. It feels very like you found something that is worth sharing, that comes from within you. But sure, you have a long journey of music education, and like, how was your journey to this place where you're now? Like, what influenced you in your education?
I see. Okay. I started when I was 7. I started piano lessons because my mom wanted, and not really me. I think I didn't choose my instrument. My mom chose it for me, but I'm super happy now for my mom about it. Even if I
Which
had a bit.
instrument would you have chosen if it was up to you? Do you
That's
know?
a good question. Probably I wouldn't have chosen anything. I don't know if I was interested in music in that time. So that's why I'm also glad, like sometimes this thing that your parents are choosing something for you, it's working, and you can later change it. So I changed it later for more my way, but it's still piano that is there, but I played very differently. That how I started it. So I started this very classical way of learning it. I started it with learning the notes and the sheet music, and this was very difficult for me as a kid, and I guess for many people, for many kids, it's hard. It was not intuitive, and then for a long time I was in this classical world. It was giving me a lot of good things, also a lot of good techniques, and like this repetition, and like going every day to practice, to hard work. Like I think it was important, but at the same time, it was also very hard world, because then it's often about finding mistakes, and you played wrong, and at least it felt for me like that. So when I was as teenager, I found some other instruments that you can actually play many things. You can sing. I started to sing in the choir. I started to play guitar, some chords, and accompany myself. And yes, I started to find my voice also, and how to. And I wanted to make songs, but I didn't have any idea how to do it. So it took a long time before I actually understood that I can also write music, and I can compose and write lyrics. And this was a bit hard work. I remember I was sitting next to the piano and I was crying, and I was like feeling I want to get this song out, but I don't know how to do it. And I don't have not mentor, not teacher who could tell me like how to bring the songs out. And but somehow I had this really strong need to do it. So
Wow.
somehow it happened in the end. After all these hours sitting and crying next to the piano, it happened, and I made my first songs, and I was
And
like,
how was that
wow.
process? How was that
Uh,
process of actually creating from within you and finally making it happen?
I think for me, it has been always very emotional process. I know that a lot of songwriters have they have different techniques and they are finding, I don't know, ways to kind of technical things that are helping to build the song. For me, I think the first it started uh, very emotionally. So it was a lot about crying actually. So I felt that maybe it's my character, but I like crying. For me, it's crying is like relaxing the body. And for me, when I feel that the crying is coming, then I feel this is important topic for me somehow. And it can be happy cry, it can be angry cry, it can be sad cry, whatever. But the cry is telling me like, okay, this is important topic. I want to go here. Or I feel these goosebumps or something. And then I feel, okay, I will stay here. And then maybe I start to improvise it around it, or and I try to improvise some words and then start little by little to build the song. So it's kind of a feeling. It's just this this feeling that something is coming, and it's not yet formed, but I know that it will be formed if I sit long enough with it.
Yeah. Wow.
Did I answer the question?
Yeah. It's
uh,
yeah, because
yes.
it's interesting. Like so often we learn music for many years, and at least in my music training, writing my own music was not at all part of it. And it
Yes.
seems so strange that we kind of that shouldn't be part of it. You know, because music is, in a way, it's a language, and then we learn this amazing, beautiful language, but we don't learn how to express it into the world in our own way. You know?
Yeah, it's very strange. I don't know. Probably it has changed a lot. And as I was also studying music pedagogy at Sibelius Academy in the Arts of Helsinki University, and it was very amazing education. It was really. I felt that it has changed a lot, the education now, and there's a lot of more new approaches and more communal ways and making together and writing songs together, improvising, all of this. And I'm really happy of that. And I feel that the level of the music education is really high nowadays. I don't know elsewhere, but I know in Finland, and it's very good. And I'm really appreciating the work of my old classmates, because I didn't become a music teacher in the end, but I still noticed that something probably stayed in myself. And when I do concerts, and then I feel this need, I want to make people sing and clap and be part of it. So somehow maybe probably something, a little bit of this music educator is still in me when I do the concerts, and that's why I I want to to sing with people. It's so nice.
Yeah. So you sing obviously in your mother tongue, in Finnish, and also you take a lot of inspiration from traditional folk, Finnish folk. How important, or how much do you connect to your roots, to your cultural roots, and how important is it in your music making? What meaning does it have for you as an artist?
This is a good question. I think for me, when I was younger, I just wanted to leave Finland. I was really not liking my country. I was not really appreciating it, and I was always looking for reasons to go away. so this is the where I started kind of my journey. When I went I had a chance to go to the residencies with my mother, who is an artist, and we went to Italy or Portugal or France. So I had the chance when I was already younger age to stay a longer times outside of Finland, and I felt that time that, wow, this is amazing world, and this is better than where I come from. Probably I felt a little bit shame also about my culture. I don't know why it was so strong, but somehow I had this shame about where I come from and how we are here and how we are depressed, and I don't know, we are not so we don't have a social culture, and somehow this was a difficult topic for me. So when I left Finland, I think this changed. Like when when I went to other countries, of course, I was amazed of all the different things that I learned and see and how people are this and that. And I learned so much. And at the same time, I started understanding and I started missing some things from Finland. Like when I was in Turkey, in Istanbul, I was feeling like, I cannot breathe. I need air. And where is the air? And I realized this is the air. I grew up with this the cleanest air in the world. And I never saw that. And then I think this is the thing when I started to actually appreciate my country when I went away. And I hope it would be not always like that you could actually start appreciating where you come from and all the good things, like without going away. But for me, it actually really happened that when I went away, then I started to understand more. And then also probably because when I go away, when I go to other countries, then people are asking me, can you sing something from your country? And then I was a little bit like, no, but I would have this cool Bulgarian song. Can I sing it? Like it was more, I was not really happy of singing my songs from my country. And then somehow when I sang a few little folk songs and people get super excited and they want to know the lyrics, what they mean and what they mean to me. And then that opened something. So somehow it grew up. It grew in me within all these travels from outside. Yeah. So then somehow I started to integrate these little elements to my songs, and then now I feel more connected actually to my land of birth, and I grew up here, and this has amazing sides, and then some sides that I don't like so much, but.
Do you have a very alive folk tradition in Finland? Is there like, is it very much part of society, the folk culture and the singing? And
I would say that it's very hyped right now. Like it has a lot of like there's a lot of bands, folk bands or artists that became very popular lately from the folk scene. So it's kind of it's hype. I don't know how alive it is. Probably I'm not also enough in the folk circles in Finland because I'm always away from Finland, or most of the time away from here. So I also don't know like how alive it is like in everyday life. Like, but I know that there's some jam sessions, of course, happening, and also like we have this some areas, for example, Kaustinen in the more northern side of or middle side of Finland, which has a very strong spelman, this pelimanni, like a tradition with fiddle, especially with the violin fiddle tradition is very strong there. This is on the west side of Finland. And then in the east side of Finland, there's a lot of this, also the strong singing traditions. But I'm not sure, like, is it really alive in the sense that people would like sing in their everyday life or in a communal life? So that I'm not sure. But I would say that in the kind of it's more seen nowadays, or it's more recognized, like also in the media, and also it has a more money, like fundings for maintained traditions, and also there's a lot of education. So there's more like folk educations around Finland where you can actually learn and study folk music, tradition music.
I mean, you traveled so much, and I don't know, I certainly know in my travels, I felt like there are some countries that are very connected to their ancestry, and it's important for their culture to honor that ancestry and to somehow be connected to it. Is that part alive in Finland? Do you feel somehow like this dialogue between tradition and the times we live in? How do you have this dialogue in your own artistic expression?
Good question. Actually, I started now to think about Germany and German people with whom I talked about this, like traditions and traditional songs, and it was interesting to hear like how many people were kind of feeling a bit lost with it, because there's now something that you can really hold on, or there's a lot of songs that were like disappeared, or they were like cut off. So somehow some part of the history were cut off. And then I noticed that I didn't grow up with this. I grew up with some kind of strong ideas of, oh, this is our traditions, and these are the songs, and there's a lot of archives where we can go and find the data, and there's a lot of data, like all of these folk poems, huge amount of folk poems around Finland that has been collected. So somehow this was like surprising for me. But then if I go to, for example, Estonia, I feel that there people are even more, or it's even more important. Like they have these huge events where people come to sing together. They have these rune singing traditions, and they have these special instruments, for me it seems that there they are very connected. So in a way, like I could see that we are maybe somewhere in the middle. But now I probably didn't answer your questions. What was the question?
Totally. And what
Yeah.
what role do you feel does tradition and your ancestry? I mean, is it important to conserve it? Is it important to break away from it? Is it important to somehow be connected to it? To then
Yes, I think this is a question that we are often discussing in this, also in Sibelius Academy, in this folk music department and global music department. It's a lot in the discussion, this conversation of how much we want to preserve and how much we want to um, renew it, or make I don't know, make the distance of it, or because also there's these big questions about nationalism and how we were building our nation. Like we kind of basically, there's somebody who came to us, not even probably a Finnish person, like who came to us and said, okay, this is Finnish culture, and this is your national composer, and this is your dad, and this is your dad, and this is Finnish culture. So I think, and I guess this is a little bit everywhere when we start to talk about the nations and how they were built and how we built, and then we come to this very deep conversation about that we actually humans wants to build some things, and we are all the time building, and then so that means that the question is it truth? Is it truthful? Is it important? And then when we have different kind of constructions, then we start thinking, what are the relationship with different constructions? I don't know if this is clear, or is it just,
can you give an
a bit vague?
example of those constructions you're talking about?
Just I was thinking of this our national composer Jean Sibelius, and he's of course amazing composer. I love his work, but just also maybe coming back to this kind of person cult, like when we start putting somebody more up and telling this is our example of good human, and this is our art, and yeah, maybe I want a little bit to question that, and also question that why do we make these kind of lines that it's us and then it's you, and then why do we have this? Of course, we are humans. We probably had this, like for a long time. We lived in the small tribes,
Yes,
and we wanted to. We needed for our survival. We needed to make these like kind of lines. Okay, it's our tribe. It's the other tribe, and we have this us and them, or us and you.
Yeah.
And then that's why I think it's a good question in the folk and the traditions, like how much we want to preserve that, because there's also this side of maybe which is not always healthy, and it has also a lot of like sexist constructions and racist constructions, and then how much we want to preserve that, and I think for me it feels important to renew it. Of course, like we get more and more knowledge, we get more understanding, and then the world is changing, and then it means that the folk traditions has to change also. They cannot stay the same. But also for me it's important to know the history so that it's possible. So because we forget, our life is too short, and then we need to remember, and that's why we have to write down. We have to have these archives. We have to have everything that we can we can have access to the history, so that we can remember. because otherwise we do all the time the same mistakes.
Yeah.
I guess I think. What do you think about this
Well,
topic?
it's a topic that I'm thinking about so much, especially living in Germany, where it's really like a complicated issue. And I wonder, like coming at it from a psychological point of view, like as a human, our human psychology, it feels like if we are deeply rooted in our own identity, it's easier then to deal with the unexpected, with something strange, with the foreign stuff that comes at us, if we have somehow like a home and roots within ourselves. And I
Yes.
sometimes wonder if this is also reflected in being somehow rooted in a cultural tradition, that maybe that also plays a part in giving us the capacity to then also be open because we know where our roots are. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes, I think like actually it was interesting to now I get into my German time memories when I came to Germany some years ago to the residency in Tübingen, and then after 2 days the corona swiped like how do you say corona
Happened.
corona happened, and I didn't have a home at that point in Finland, so I stayed in Tübingen in that house where I came to the residency, and I stayed in the end. I stayed 2 years in Tübingen in
Yeah.
Germany, and this was one of the hardest time of my life, probably for all of us, or many of us. It was hard time, um, and I'm not sure exactly. Was it hard for me because of Corona, or was it hard because I was suddenly living in another country and I had to really live there, not just travel, because traveling is easy. You can just take the best side of it. Like
Yeah.
you just, you just go and you get excited, and then you go to another place and you get excited. You are not really rooting and understanding the deep way of living and being there. And I think that was the first time when I had to do that. And I think my whole identity was kind of breaking down during
Yeah.
these years. And it was difficult. And then I noticed that, okay, maybe my root is not clear. Like I'm not really rooted somehow. And that's why it was important also. I felt that it was really changing me this time in Germany, because it was made it clear that if I'm not in my surroundings, if I don't feel comfortable, I can just go with the wind because I'm not rooted anyway. And then somehow after that, it's been a lot in my mind. It's like how you root yourself and what is this thing that you root actually yourself. And yeah, I still don't know what is the answer, but somehow I feel that it's still everybody, like we need to find this route for ourselves to that we can carry on, and we can whatever difficult things happen in the world, like we can somehow go through the storms. And
And can you tell a little bit about the process? Like, what did you do to somehow make this process of rooting yourself within yourself in this foreign environment? How did that happen for you?
for me, I guess it was a lot about opening up for people and trying to trust to people. Also in the situations where I feel that people are acting in a new way that I haven't get used to, because I got used to the Finnish, this what we call Finnish way of being, and then somehow the certain topics are allowed to you're allowed to speak certain topics in a certain way, uh, and but then when you are in a new environment, it doesn't work. Like you feel that you make all the time mistakes, and you don't understand, you misunderstand people, they misunderstand you, there's a conflict. And then for me it was more like opening up for the actually it was opening up for the conflict, and I had a lot of like good and very bad like experiences of conflicts, but very good ones also, in the sense that I really understood that wow, like conflict is not a bad thing. Like I grew up with this thinking that I always have to avoid any kind of conflict, but then somehow the time in Germany opened for me this idea that conflict is not um, it, it can be a very good thing, because then it can really open the connection with people, and it means that you are actually trying to find a way toward other people. And somehow for me this was changing it, and I noticed that this is not something that maybe it's changing also this idea of we and them to more broader, so that you can say we for anybody, basically. Like you walk on the street and then you meet somebody and you can think with this person, even if he's a different age, different political view, different everything. It's possible to open up for this person and open the connection. So I guess it was a lot about trust and opening and being also vulnerable. It's not easy always, and sometimes you have to protect yourself, or if you're not sure, can I trust to this person? But somehow I still felt it was very important to dare to be vulnerable and open up for people that and also, like, then if you feel that people are not understanding in the end, then somehow just accepting it. I guess it's also that, because sometimes you just don't meet for some reason or another. You just don't meet and then meet in the middle, and then you find the other people.
You talked about being vulnerable, and I think this is something I really would like to talk to you about, because it's what I experience when you are on stage. I experience like a crazy mix of total female power and like a really vulnerable aspect of you. And somehow you manage to share this really vulnerable side of you in I don't know, in such an authentic way that it's not oversharing. Like, it doesn't feel uncomfortable to have a view inside of the vulnerability that you're sharing.
Mm-hmm.
And it opens this space for, I mean, it's really electrifying. It's very powerful what you do. And I feel, I don't know, maybe I feel vulnerability plays a huge part in that. Am I right?
When I find people and when I feel this vulnerability, then I feel that the people are trusting me. I think probably it's connected a lot with the trust. And if somebody is daring to be vulnerable with you, then that means that they are trusting you, because they are not thinking that you are going to turn that against you somehow. And I guess I was always a very sensitive, and I always needed sensitive people around me. And then, and I was never really understanding this. Like, why do we want this, build the kind of barriers? Or for me, it felt barriers, like when we are like kind of walls between each other, like when we are thinking, oh, you have to be strong and don't show your emotions. And I don't know, it's probably I was also doing it a lot myself, because I was feeling that I have to fit in that kind of world. Or we are seeing that we are in this world, we are probably it's a survival, like thing. Like, we have to we are thinking we have to survive, and we are surviving when we are putting the strong walls around us, and like we have to be rich, and we have to have status, and we have to have success, and we have to this and that. And somehow it was never really resonating. And I don't know if there's a lot of people who actually like can resonate with this, but somehow we grow up with these ideas that we have to be like that to survive and to be good and feel good. But probably the real happiness is something else, and it's the connection. And always when you feel the connection with somebody, for me there's always this vulnerable element with it. And it doesn't mean, also there's a very like a little line with it, because sometimes the vulnerability can also turn, like somebody can use your vulnerability. So of course, and I also had these experiences of bad experiences where I felt that my vulnerability or my sensitivity was used, or even the other way, that I was using somebody's vulnerability. And this is like, it's very difficult for me to work with this because it's so like tiny little colors that
Yeah.
you're working with. So I don't know where's the line, but somehow I notice that I always are finding these kind of people who have this ability to be sensitive and to open and be vulnerable.
Hmm.
And yeah.
I think what I experience in your concerts is, and I wonder, like, to make yourself visible. I mean, as an artist, it's something that we have to deal with anyway. We are visible on stage. That's why we're on stage. So,
Yes.
I suppose we're confronted with that part. But then, like, to be visible in your vulnerability on stage, and at the same time holding the space of your performance,
Mm-hmm.
I imagine that that's like, I would just be super interested how that process, how did you manage to create this? Wow, this, I mean, it's so strong when you perform this. On the one side, you're holding the space for you and for the audience, and you allow yourself to be vulnerable. I
Mm-hmm.
remember this one song you have, it's about rage. There's something
Uh-huh.
like about anger.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it just went through my whole body. When I heard it the first time, I might just tears streaming down my face because it was so strong. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
felt the emotion was so real. It was so
Mm-hmm.
there. But at the same time, you held the space for everybody. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, it's,
I guess it is shared, like, because we are talking about emotions that we are all sharing. And then I think that for the artists, like, artists are like I don't have the words in English, like, they are, I mean, they're expressing the emotions that are for everybody, like everybody can recognize and resonate to these feelings and emotions. So I also remember when I was writing this song and I was afraid to sing it. I felt like, okay, this is so strong feeling, aggression, anger, like rage, and especially for women, this hasn't been very easy or
yeah.
accepted um, emotion to show
Mm.
outside. And it's also, again, we come to the vulnerability, because then when you show something like that, it's easy. People would be easily say, this is a hysteric woman, like, so maybe it's a little bit activism in that sense also, that then you are like, okay, if somebody's telling me I'm not allowed to show and I'm not allowed to feel these emotions that I feel that are so universal and everybody feel these kind of feelings, then I have to be the one, even if somebody doesn't like it. And I also have some people who came to me after the concert said, okay, this anger song was too much.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, but it was mostly actually um yeah, it was mostly men. So I think that it was
Interesting.
most yes, mostly the women came to talk about this, especially about this song, this aggression song, that it was very important for them, because we are not we are so socialized of putting this down and, like, until it explodes. So somehow when you show the explosion, then somehow it feels like I get relaxed because I can get finally out of this that has been in the bottle for too long. I explode
Yeah.
it, and I feel that people in the audience, and many women can probably recognize this, and that they can also feel this relaxation, like, oh, okay, now it came out, like, through the song. So this is my hope, and I felt like people came to tell me about it, and I was really happy, because then it means that it's not only my feeling, it's a shared emotion.
I mean, I find this so fascinating about your songs because when you performed in Germany, I mean, you're singing in Finnish, and your songs also often have, like, complex topics, tricky topics. Like, you talk
Mm-hmm.
about shame, you talk about, like, big emotions, about yeah, about harassment also. Like, that was part of some of the songs. And I mean, yes, you say it in your in your introduction to the song. You talk a little bit better about this, but then you're singing in Finnish, and very few people know Finnish, and yet the message is so clear. I mean, it's just, I find it really fascinating.
Uh,
What made you sing about these topics?
um, 。 I think I try to make always happy songs. Even my teacher was saying, "Okay, Vilma, next song, please make a happy song." And I can already make happy songs. It's like I like happy songs. I love to dance, and I like happy songs. But I don't know why. Why? Probably it is a little bit like a diary in the sense. Like when I start writing, it's a lot of the topics that I cannot understand myself, and I have to go deep into that to somehow make a peace with it. So it's a lot of dark topics, probably because of this reason that I want to make some sense of it. And somehow with the happy songs, yes, I mean, it's the same. I can also sing about happiness and be like being grateful of all the things that I got. This is also is working on, but there's a lot of the dark things that are still, I know that they're every day affecting me and my body and my people around me, and then somehow, they are not leaving me alone. And then when I put it out, I put it in a song, in the lyrics or composition, somehow I feel that I get a little bit relief from them, they become concrete, so then you can put it out, and then you feel it's shared. And again, this emotion is when it's shared, it's easier to handle. So somehow that's why I feel like art, and like all the art, music is amazing tool to share, because it's also telling so much more than the words. I somehow, probably because words were always difficult for me, even if I write songs, but I felt that speaking is difficult for me. Some reason, I don't know why, but I feel whatever is the language, English, Finnish, French, Turkish, I'm always a bit lost with the words, because I feel always a bit that it's not perfect. It's not perfect. I mean, it's not really describing what I'm really feeling. So, and I cannot really describe the things with words. I can describe it better with art and with music, with dance, with. Do you feel this, or do you have this like?
Yeah, I
And,
feel I feel certainly like that music has this superpower to create a shared space
Mhm,
where really emotions can show up and are allowed to show up. And
mhm,
it's one of the few places I feel like there's a real lack of places where emotions, and also difficult emotions, can show up. And I feel
mhm.
music is one of the few places where it's okay. If
Yes.
I can sit in a concert and I can cry. And I feel especially like the way you perform, I don't know, I nearly feel like you're providing this kind of shamanic sacred space for these tricky emotions, where like
Uh,
people don't want to feel shame, they don't want to feel rage, they don't, but we all feel it.
yeah,
and
yeah.
and it's so valuable that
Mhm,
spaces exist where this can be felt.
mhm,
So, and I feel like really music has a very special power to create
mhm.
those spaces. And maybe it's like a good bridge to, like in your introduction already, you said, wow, the times we live in, it's like, wow, so much is changing in social media and stuff. And how, or I don't know, do you feel that artists, musicians, and music has a special role to play in the times we live in?
Yes, definitely. Is I think this kind of sensitivity, when we go back to the vulner vulnerability, sensitivity,
What is
and
vulnerability in Finnish? How do you say it in Finnish?
haavoittuvuus.
Haavoittuvuus.
Haavoittuvuus. Vulnerability and sensitivity, and connecting with emotions, and also actually really feeling the emotions and
Yeah.
expressing them. Um, it's very important, because when we try to escape the emotions, then we are disconnecting. We are disconnecting from ourselves. We are disconnecting from each other. And then when we are disconnecting from each other, then um, we cannot solve also all of these huge issues that we have in the world. And therefore, for me, the artists are definitely in a big role of opening of releasing this energy. And I think that it's definitely underestimated in our world. Like, there's a big things happening now in Finland in the politics, and there's a lot of cuts in the culture, and there's a lot of like very sad things happening, and a lot of artists feel uh, left out and not really given the space, and not really. Uh, and this is very sad because we can solve things rationally, many things rationally, but then there's a lot of things that we cannot solve rationally. And I think we need the whole, we need everything. Of course, we need the structures, we need politicians, we need activism, but we also need arts. And of course, this can be part of them, but also we need arts because we need arts. Nowadays, I also feel it a lot like you have to explain why you're doing art because it's giving more well-being, or it's you have to have the topics that are about the how to live more ecologically. And of course this is important, but somehow it's also you need art because you need art. It's like there's no explanation. so so yes, I think artists have a big role. I'm also curious. Can you also tell like what is your role? Because what do you think about this? Because you have this amazing place. This Banov is also for me like this kind of a paradise in the sense because the world has these tough, very tough places, and when you go to different places to perform, you also feel like sometimes there's this very tough energy or somehow disconnected energy. I felt that coming to Banov is like an oasis for me. Like Banov is oasis to come back, and for me it's so important to have these kind of places, and it's so important that these kind of places are supported. But then how do we make people understand that these kind of places are so important for all of us, that we can come and share? And it's not only about, it's not about business. It's not about money. It's about coming together and sharing. And how do we make people understand that this is important? I don't know. I don't know answer from that. There's too many like strong, I don't know, forces that are going against of this and saying, okay, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I sometimes wondered, if there's also a little bit of strategy behind those forces that are going against it. Because if we connect in these kind of spaces, like what I always experience is that in the end, we kind of all feel our shared humanity. It's like, oh, in the end, we're all human, and we have all very similar emotions, and we have all very similar fears, and like in the end we're not actually so different from each other. I mean, it feels like, oh wow, this person is from Syria, and this person is from France, and this person is from Bulgaria, and this person, but in the end, like our shared humanity is really, we're more similar than we are different, I think.
Yes. Yeah, for me, that always surprises me. And I notice that still, after all of these travels in different places, I'm still all the time the most surprised of this. Like, of course, also seeing my own prejudice. Like, I notice it happens all the time. So I have to constantly be aware of that. And I still notice, even after all of these years, I still notice my own prejudice about this thing, and still thinking of, it's my people, or they are thinking like that. And then when you go deep enough, and then you see that we are all so similar, like everywhere we are so similar. It's amazing also. Like, we are so similar, but somehow like these walls, that how to break down the walls, this is difficult, tricky, but it's not impossible.
Yeah. As part of this podcast, I was talking to another woman, and she had this interesting analogy. She said, like, if like in society, like all these important people sit around a table and discuss about how things should be run, but artists are not very often invited. But also as artists, not very often we also choose to go in those places. And we were kind of wondering, what would the world look like? What would society look like if artists would also sit on that table?
I wonder what would happen. Yeah, this is actually a good reminder, because I notice it easily also happens that somehow we start, like, I notice it's easy to go, like when you travel, it's so easy to go to among the other artists. You feel like especially there, everything the same. You don't feel even that you're abroad. So you feel the same energy. And at the same time, it's also important to go out of this bubble and like, yeah, spread your ideas so that we don't get into these separate bubbles. And it's a good reminder to get out from
Yeah.
from your own bubble.
Yeah. What do you feel would be like one of the most important roles that artists play at the moment?
For me, it feels like it is like what I feel in the concerts, and like when people are coming, uh um at least I would like to give people uh hope. I would like to give the like people moments when they can really be in touch with themselves and with others, and really feel this shared, that they are not alone. Like, I guess this thing, about being alone, I feel that this is the most terrible thing that we can happen for us. Like, we need each other. Like, human is not made for being alone. So, and knowing how much people are feeling this loneliness
Yeah.
in these times, but I guess in many times or any times, I wouldn't like anybody to feel alone. And that's why this, shared space is so important, that and the artists can create this kind of shared space and bring people together and expressing the things um that are like uniting us, that we are all experiencing and feeling. So being together, I guess, being together,
Yeah.
bringing people together.
Yeah.
So I don't really, when I think about success, for example, I was also thinking this topic a lot about success. We are a lot like, also, of course, because artist life is not always easy. You need also money for your living. You need to pay your rent. You have to have some food. And so of course we have this trouble of like, how do we get a living? Because there's not a lot of structures or fundings, or uh, because it's not recognized as it should be, as a important part of the community and the society. So of course people get worried about these kind of things. How do I make a living? And then maybe you start thinking, what people want, so that, like, so how I have to be so that I can get a living, so that people come to my concerts. So for me it's like, for me it's very difficult, to sometimes keep this, like, okay, whatever, like I somehow have to still keep this idea, even if I have to do this kind of gigs sometimes in the places where you don't want to be, because you don't feel that people understand it or people really appreciate it, or but somehow how to keep this idea, like what is important and why you are doing it, and that we wouldn't stop it even in the hard times. Because, and it's also very understandable that people also get tired of it and exhausted, because when you don't get any recognition and you don't show the appreciations, we all need that. And if you are constantly put down as an artist, of course we are humans, we cannot take it forever. But somehow, if we have a chance to unite also with this, and support each other, then it's easier to remember, to keep it clear in the mind. Like,
Another thing, another like topic that is very close to my heart, because it was very much part of my journey, was that as a woman, and as a woman who's often in a leading position, also in a very visible position, I was always kind of searching for role models. And at one point I realized, wow, all of my role models are men. Like, where are the women? I mean, it's not that I mean, they're amazing role models, and it's not like, but I was just, it was like, well, the people I listen to, the podcasts I listen to so many podcasts, and most of them are hosted by men. Or a lot of the guests are men. So I was like, oh, wow, that's interesting. I mean, it wasn't a very activist thing, but it was just like one day I just sat down and said, wow, this is fascinating. Like, where are the women?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I feel that. I can feel that. Like, yeah, in my life, for me, I was always looking for the role models, and I think for a long time, my only model for women, like active women or like female characters, were in the Moomins, in the Moomins. You know this animation. It's a Japanese animation, but behind is a Finnish writer. It's about these Moomin characters, and there's this little character, little girl, which is very. She's a bit angry girl. Like, she's doing what she wants. She's also not very nice. She's sometimes very mean, actually. She's not like this kind girl that we are like learned that, okay, this is a kind of a good person, especially a good woman, that you are like a kind of, I don't know, somehow gentle and kind person, and not loud, and not thinking of yourself, not selfish, and this and that somehow. So for me, this was for a long time, for many years, my only role model. And I was like, where, like, yes, where are the others? Like, I could really carry on with long time with this little character, but somehow then later at some point I realized, like, wow, this is really, of course, it's affecting us that we don't have the role models, and of course, um, it it gives a lot of problems, because then when you actually wants to be in a certain, like, you feel inside of you that you need to do something, and it needs you to take the lead, it needs you to create projects, and then you don't have the chance to. I mean, some people say like, okay, you can get, if your role model is man, then you can as well take from them whatever. I'm How do you say? Yeah, you need, like, it doesn't matter, but actually, I don't believe. Of course, it matters. Like, the we need some people that we can relate to, and if you don't have uh, these people around you, of course, it's easier to think, okay, I cannot do this, because you don't see people around you doing that. So you might be the only
Yeah.
one, or yes. So yeah, I feel that, and it has been making me also very angry. And I think also when I sing this aggression song, it's also like part of what is coming out every time when I perform it, is also this feeling of this is unfair, like, and it's like we have to change this somehow. It has also this need for change, and at the same time, like, okay, we cannot, if we are not becoming the change ourselves, then things don't change. Like, somehow we cannot tell, okay, the world has to be like this, because it's not, and then somehow we have to make it ourselves. And how do we do that? Yeah, it's hard, but it's not impossible.
Well, it's pioneer work. I think it's
yes.
It's being a pioneer, and I really feel like, you're one of those pioneers, because you're the one, and like, there will be younger women coming to your concerts and seeing that what you're doing, and there will be a strong role model. And I can certainly say, for me, like, that moment in your concert for me was it was a really transformative moment in my life, where I felt so seen as a woman, and I felt like it was a role model moment. Like, you were a role model for me in that moment, where I thought, wow, I'm so grateful that she is bringing this to stage, this emotion to stage, and making me connect to that. It was very, very transformative moment for me. So I really want to thank you for that. It was really very important moment.
Thank you. Wow, it's amazing. It's amazing because for me, like, I mean, this is also like the thing. Like, we are taking the moments, like, from each other. I noticed, like, lately it's been so important for me to read books from female writers, to follow the TED Talks or whatever from the female leaders, and to get impressions and to appreciate the work of my friends, and for people that I because for me this is like the moment to change these old ideas that also women has to be always in the back. And it doesn't mean that okay, women has to be and come like okay, go away, or we are now here and you go away. It's more about like just seeing all the potential that people around us have, and like and appreciating it, and also like working with your own prejudice about the things like okay, we have these old stupid sayings about, like I had it for a long time with driving, that I cannot drive, like and it's a stupid, but it comes from these comments that what I grew up with. Woman in the driving, of course there was a traffic accident, it was a woman, of course. Like these kind of comments, they are affecting us, of course. And then seeing the work of each other and what we are bringing to each other, it's amazing. And for me also, it's amazing because you are also my role model. So it's like the things that you did also in the folk, like folklang in Tübingen, and like how you are creating this and how you are leading this, and because it was so passionate project, and it was like crazy project because it was so passionate in the sense that it was so like it's full of love. It's a pure love, and it's like, so for me this was already the point when I was seeing like, wow, this is something that I could never imagine that I would have strength to build, but I feel like I want to be part of this like somehow. And then after that comes the Banov, which is, and then we also get to know through this, like I'm coming to Banov, and we had a chance to have a deeper conversations and more things, and then I understand like what amazing work you are doing there, and also this leading as a female, because for me it's actually, I'm still working a little bit with this. I notice it when I have to be the leader. It's easy for me when I'm a solo because then I'm just a boss of myself, but when I have to be the boss for others, I really have to work with this my own insecurities, and it's not easy. And I'm seeing this in you, and with a lot of like the strength to say, okay, it's not about what I am or who I am or which gender I am, but we need to do this because this is important. And I'm still learning how to say that, like, this is important because this project is important. And whatever you think about me, it doesn't matter because this project is important.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Vilma, you just released your album. I think,
Yes.
Was it yesterday? Was yesterday the release? Wow. Please tell us a little bit about this new album and where people can get it, and how can people find out about you? Where will you be this year?
Mm-hmm.
What are you up to?
Yes. So I released the album Olio Alien. And well, it talks a lot about these topics that we've been already talking today. So so a lot of is included in the songs. But also come to the concerts, because the concerts is always my the moment when I feel the most connected. So of course I'm really proud of the record, the album itself. So you can hear it like from streaming platforms, and you can hear it in the CD, but come to the concerts because that's the best. And I'm also coming to Germany in autumn to the album release tour. So in October 2026, so this coming October, I will be in around Germany. I haven't get yet the list where I will be, but I think it will be around Germany. So in many places there. I think there will be around 20 concerts. So there should be some concerts. Maybe I will come close to Banov. Let's see. So that's one tour that's coming abroad. I will try to organize also some other concerts in Europe, but since I don't have a manager, it's slow, and it's a bit like, it depends how much I have effort, like energy, and if I find if I find a manager from Germany, that would be really cool because I would love to do more concerts in Germany. Uh, in Finland, I will continue my tour in the summer. Yeah, there's constantly new ideas coming. Actually, I noticed it that since I really love, actually the most what I love is writing the songs. This moment is very special. So I'm already like looking forward the times when I can again go back to my own little cave and just start writing again the songs. And also this is the end of the kind of the end of the process is when you have done all the work in the studio and then you have the album ready and then you are prepared the live show and then you go to perform. So this is another my favorite moment. So I feel that I could live forever. I mean, the whole life with this between these two polars, like first writing the songs in my cave and then coming to with the songs to people. And so now I will be more with people because the songs are out and now I want to share them with people, but I have already like ideas for the new albums, and I'm for sure going to do new music. But I also do some collaborate. I have some collaborations now, so I'm doing in Finland. I have some bands which I'm working with. Alda Trio. It's a Finnish folk trio. I work in Turkey. I have a duo there, Kalabalik duo. We will do some Finnish and Turkish fusion music.
Wow.
We are also now writing our album. It's going to be interesting because it's really like a fusion of Finnish and Turkish music. And yes, I have some Serbian body music duo, Alice in Wonderland. We are working together also some concerts, and it's been super fun to get also into the Balkan fever. And yes, so I have here and there's little collaborations, and I want to do more with people because also like doing always alone, it's still lonely. Even if when I'm in the concerts, then I'm with people, but also it's a lot of work alone, and I still want to do more with people. So, and then I keep coming to Banov Orchestra Week and some ethno events and ethno music camps and such. Yes.
Yeah. Wow. Vilma, if you kind of look into the future 5-10 years from now and the world has changed in a way that is more beautiful to your own heart, to your experience, what do you see?
I was thinking, for some reason, I was thinking Banov. It's like I want more. I was thinking this. I want more of this in the world, like this kind of space. I want this kind of meeting points, more this kind of meeting points for people where they feel they can come and they feel that they can be together with people and they are accepted. They are seen also. This feeling of what you said earlier about being seen and heard and understood.
Yeah.
I want more this kind of places and this kind of moments between people that we can feel seen and understood and also give support for each other because not only to receive but also to give it's a huge gift because then you feel like it feels amazing when you feel that you can help people and so somehow I would hope more of this to the world. I would hope that we would spend less time on social media and more in this life in this life like live life and yes, I hope that we would manage to come back to the conversation, like even with all of these different opinions and with this crazy situation and conflicts, that we would manage to come back together and have the conversations that and be vulnerable and show others that
Yes.
and we can only start it from ourselves. Like, yeah, we start ourselves to open up and then we will see what happens and who will open up and then it will spread.
Vilma, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you so much. Wow, it's been like I lost the track of the time. It was really so nice to discuss. Wow, important. I'm so happy that you invited me. So it's been really great. I could continue this forever. These topics.
We will. Thank you so much.
Thank you.